On this episode of China Uncensored, deep thinking discouraged in Chinese schools. Welcome to China Uncensored. You know, there's nothing like a good old brainwashing to keep your brain squeaky clean. You see, the problem is, oftentimes a person, especially children, are exposed to all kinds of discordant thoughts, differing opinions, and alternative ways of life. Now, how can you build a harmonious society if everyone goes around thinking? Well, don't worry. The People's Education Press is working to prevent any unnecessary wrinkles growing on the brains of middle school students throughout China. Wrinkles in the brain lead to wrinkles on the face. Notice my smooth skin? In the most recent edition of middle school texts, short story The Kite by famed writer Lu Xun has been removed because of concern that it wasn't age appropriate. Middle school students shouldn't be reading anything too deep. We shouldn't make students undertake reflection and critical thinking too soon. Instead, we should let them gradually accumulate knowledge. That wasn't me being sarcastic, that's what a Xinhua article said about the new edition. Lu Xun was a famous satirical short story writer frustrated with what he called the cultural backwardness and moral cowardice of the Chinese. China was in the middle of wrenching social changes during his lifetime as China battled foreign powers without and cultural change internally. He described himself as a man standing outside a great iron box in which the people of China had fallen asleep. If he banged hard enough, some people might awaken and free themselves. If they couldn't, at least they'd be conscious of their fate. Today he'd probably be arrested for spreading rumors. He decided to become a writer in 1905 while studying medicine in Japan. Japan had recently won a war with China, and he saw a lantern slide of triumphant Japanese soldiers executing an alleged Chinese traitor while a large crowd of apathetic Chinese looked on. He felt he was just the guy to snap them out of their stupor. So while over the past few years Lu Xun's works have been vanishing from official language and literature textbooks, he was once a favorite author of Mao Zedong. Mao even did the calligraphy for his tombstone. But Lu died a decade before the communists ever conquered China, and his works were inherently cynical, especially when it comes to politics. So Mao really liked him, but he also called those in power charlatans. God, I think I'm having a deep thought. I'd tell you what happens in The Kite, but I wouldn't want to expose you to such subversive content. Instead, may I direct you to my episode about execution porn? It got the Xinhua approval. So what also got Xinhua approval was this news article from the weekend that said Istanbul had won the bid to host the 2020 Summer Olympics. Except it didn't, Japan did. But all the success Xinhua has had in making sure people don't think too deeply about the knowledge they're fed meant their erroneous report was reprinted on hundreds of thousands of copies of the Changsha Evening News. Xinhua hasn't thought too much about this, though, despite causing the Hunan-based newspaper a huge financial loss since they had to reprint all its papers. The state media hasn't issued any sort of apology for its embarrassing blunder. So what do you think of middle school students thinking too deeply? Just when is it a good time for people to start questioning the information they're fed? Leave your comments below, visit the Facebook page, but be careful, you might see something that makes you think. Come back again tomorrow for another new episode of China Uncensored. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.